Good morning, Fab Fam. So, tomorrow night I leave for Chile. And I got to say that vacation is the one area where I get the most questions. So in this video, we are going to talk about it. I'm going to tell you about 4 areas of how I go about planning an awesome vacation. We are going to talk about vacation time and how is it that I'm able to go on 16 to 20 vacations a year, every year. And we're also going to talk about setting a vacation budget, how to take a vacation within your means and stay within your means. We're going to talk about creating the perfect itinerary. And then last, we are going to talk about my packing techniques, tips, and tricks. So if you guys are interested in that, stay tuned. And if you are just discovering this channel, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and leave any comments below if you have any further questions or if you want to add on to any of the points that I am making and the goal to have your perfect vacation. Now, I do admit I go on more vacations than the average person. And a lot of people don't even know I have a job. I have a full-time day job. I work 40 hours a week, every day of the year. So here's the thing though. I am at a point in my career where I get to negotiate for vacation time. Currently, I have 7 weeks of vacation time, of paid time off. And I say that because my vacation time also includes my holidays. So if I take off for Christmas, if I take off for Thanksgiving, I take that out of my vacation time that they give me, right? So it is up to me to manage those 7 weeks as efficiently as possible if I want to always be able to go on a vacation when I want to and not ever have the excuse that I don't have enough vacation time. Okay? So, the first thing I do is know my numbers. Just like my budget, at any point in time, I know where I stand as far as vacation time goes. I know what I am projected to take, my projected vacation. Like for instance, I'm about to go to Chile for 10 days and then I'm going to spend another 3 days in Miami. So that is approximately 2 weeks. Yes, 5 and 5 business days that I will be out of the office. What I know and what I've known for months and what I know for weeks was that I was going to have to use 44 hours of vacation to cover over 80 hours of time that I am taking off. How am I doing that? Well, I pay attention to which weeks my vacations fall on. Some of us get paid in a 2-week cycle. I get paid in a 2-week cycle. So every 2 weeks goes together, meaning that I can only make up time within a 2-week period. So I pay attention to if my vacation is falling on week 1 or week 2 and how I can strategically manipulate that. This vacation is falling on week 1 and week 2. This right here is week 1. So when I found out that my flight is not leaving till 7 p.m. on Thursday, I knew that I can get in 40 hours between Monday and Thursday. And that's going to be a half day Thursday because I have to be back home at 2 p.m. on Thursday to leave for the airport. And when I figured that out, I then devised how many hours do I have to work a day to make this possible. I came up with about a little over 10 hours a day. So then my next strategy is to say, let me try to get in as many hours up front as possible because this is life and things happen. And so I do not like spreading things out evenly because if something happens later in the week, I can't go back and reverse time and make up that time early in the week. So Monday, I worked 12 hours. Tuesday, I also worked 12 hours, but I've only charged for 11 because I took an hour lunch break to run out to buy a backpack because I decided I need a backpack. But I guess we'll talk about that later when we get to the packing section. Okay? And so today I'm going to try to work anywhere between 10 and 12 hours. So by the end of today, which is Wednesday, I will see how many hours I am short of 40. And that is what I will have to get in tomorrow. But basically, that's what I do. When it comes to my life, I do not believe in taking off time from work just because I'm tired. Taking off time from work because I have a little cough. That may be controversial, but I'm sorry. It's just a cold. Get over it. It's not the flu. It's just a cold. If we all took off from work every time we had a cold, what the hell? So no, but I rarely get sick. I rarely get sick. But if I did feel a little under the weather, like my tummy ached, y'all know why. I suck it up and drive on, and I go to work. And again, I'm not talking about having anything that is like life-threatening or contagious. Again, I barely ever get sick. I've never been food poisoned. I've never had the flu. I maybe have a cold once or twice a year. So sickness isn't something that I have to contend with. If anything, it would be tired. Like some people take off and they feel like they need a rest day because they're tired. I go to work because in my mind, I think about all of the vacations I want to do, all of the future events that I want to do that I may have to take off time for work for. So just like my budget, I don't just go willy-nilly spend today because I know that there's going to be fabulous things that I want to do in the future. I know that there's going to be things that just pop up out of the blue that I did not have time to plan for, but I want to be a part of anyway. And so when I think about spending money, I always think, hey, do I want to spend this right here, right now on this thing that doesn't matter? Or do I want to hold on to this money so that when something super awesome pops up, such as a trip to Chile, I can do that? And that's exactly what I did. Chile cost $3,300. I found this trip about 2 months ago, or maybe it was 3 months ago. I don't know. But when I found the trip, payments were already due. So I didn't sign up for this trip over a year ago where you have a longer time to get your money game together. I signed up for this trip super last minute, called my friend Gwen, who does the same financial strategies as I do, so she was able to say yes, and we paid cash for this trip. We did not charge this trip. Matter of fact, the company only took checks. So this definitely had to come out of our bank account. So once I figure out how many hours I need to work in order to keep my vacation time as untouched as possible, I then plan out everything else around it. Meaning if I have to run any last minute errands, if I have to have appointments such as getting your nails done, getting your hair done, getting your eyelashes done, or whatever, I make sure that I plan that in my off time. I make sure that I plan everything that I need to do. This is a time when you are truly going to make every second count. And I keep relating this back to budgets because I'm so budget passionate. Just like the way you're going to make every dollar count, and when you do your budget, you're going to give every dollar an assignment. When going on vacation up to these last 2 weeks, you're going to give every hour an assignment. For real. It all matters because you do not want to be that guy or that girl running around your house feeling crazy, feeling stressed out because you're looking for things at the last minute, because you're trying to do things at the last minute. The next thing I do is I set my budget. Now, once again, this is something that is going to depend on different factors. It's going to depend on how much expendable income do you have. It's going to depend on, did you know if you was going on this vacation, and did you start saving up a vacation fund for your vacation? Do you even have a vacation fund? I think a vacation fund will serve a lot of people well, and that simply is every paycheck or every month you set aside some money in a account that you know is just for vacations. You may not have a specific vacation plan just then, but you know that in the future you're probably going to want to take a vacation. So it just takes a lot of burden off a lot of financial burden off if you just have some money set aside for this thing. If vacation is something that is important to you, it is important to me. I'm at a place, because I'm debt free and because I try to keep as little overhead as possible, that I don't have to save up a vacation fund, because whatever I want to spend on vacation, I usually bring in the same month that I'm going on vacation, right? So for me, it's just a matter of how much do I want to spend. I do not like balling out. I'm not the girl who's like, I just want to go and ball out. No, I don't. I like keeping my money. But I also like being comfortable. I'm also the girl who I don't like to go on a vacation and be like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. No, I like to experience things when I'm in a country, because that may be my only time being in that country. Because I have a long history of vacations, I kind of know what I spend on average. And so for this vacation for Chile, I'm giving myself $750 in vacation money to spend. And a lot of that is because the hotels are already paid for, transportation is already paid for, some of our meals are included, and our ski lifts, I'm going snowboarding, so our lift tickets are included. So I knew that I didn't have to factor for those things. So the $750 is going to be for more food that I want to eat. It's going to be for souvenirs that I may want to buy. It's going to be for excursions that I want to do. The next step after you've set your vacation budget is to look at the currency that you may need. What country are you going to? Do they take American money, or do you need to exchange money? When I realize what I may need, I then contact a few of my banks. And the reason why I say a few is because some banks, especially if you're going to a place that takes euros, a lot of banks have euros on deck. So you don't have to order them at all. It's just a matter of calling the bank. I will always call first. Call the bank, see what they have. If they don't have the currency that you need on deck, ask them how long will it take them to order the money for you. I go with banks that only take about 2 days, and I go with picking it up at the bank rather than having them mail it to me, because I get to feel like I have a little more control that way, and you don't have to worry about anything getting lost in the mail or being delayed. But keep in mind that depending on where you bank or what banks you have access to, the whole ordering of currency can take anywhere from 2 to 5 days. So make sure that you set your budget early enough that you give yourself enough time to order money and get it back in time for you to leave for vacation. When it comes to currency, I do not, like I told you before, I'm going to do $750 of spending money. So what I don't do is I will not convert that entire $750 to the currency of the country, to foreign currency. The reason why is because I do not like coming back with foreign money left over. You can sell the money back to the bank if you do happen to come back with money left over, but you're going to lose money because the exchange rate to change your American dollar to the foreign currency is way better than the exchange rate of taking a foreign currency and turning it back to American dollars. So you're better off if you just spend that currency in the country, or if you just don't get too much currency to begin with. So for me, for this trip, I'm getting $300 worth of Chilean pesos. And so that's going to equal a little over 200,000 pesos, right? A good thing to know is that most countries, every country that I've been to, they accept credit cards. A lot of places accept credit cards. So what I do is I make sure that I bring a credit card that has no international exchange fee. And I actually bring two, usually an American Express and then a Visa or MasterCard, because not all places take American Express. And so with that, whenever I go to a restaurant or a place where I'm shopping, or if I'm going to do an excursion at the last minute that I didn't prepay for that may cost more money, I try to use my credit card. But at the same time, every day I'm keeping track of where I am with my foreign currency. Just like I do my budget every single day. I'm counting up my money. I'm doing the math. I'm keeping track of what I spent so I know where I am in the process. I know if I need to spend more of the cash I have on hand, or I know if I need to ease up on the cash I have on hand because I'm running out of it and I need to spend my credit card more. Because also keep in mind that you're going to have to tip people. And sometimes also when you're in other countries, you may also want to give money to people like kids or people who are a little less fortunate than you, and so always have some currency on hand for that. With that, I do try to get lower denominations. I try to get the ones, the fives, the tens, so that I have change, so that I'm not relying on a vendor for a whole ton of change and that sort of thing. Now, if you are bringing your bank card and credit cards, remember to call your bank or your credit card providers ahead of time and let them know your itinerary. Let them know that the countries you plan to visit and the dates when you will be visiting, okay? The other thing that is good to know when it comes to money and your budget is know how to do the math. Know how to convert your money to the foreign currency that you're using, and the other way around. I'm going to Chile, so they use the Chilean pesos, which is different from the Mexican pesos or the Argentina pesos. I only say that because I just learned that pesos are not pesos. I thought that all pesos were pesos, and anybody who used the peso, they all use the same peso, but they don't. So they use the Chilean peso. Currently, the exchange rate changes every day, but I just stick with one number because you're going to get a roundabout estimate. So I know that the exchange rate is 0.0014 is equal to our $1, right? So the way I'll figure that out is this. If something I'm doing costs 7,000 pesos, I do 7,000 times 0.0014, and that gives me approximately $10. And the reason why I say that is good to know, because sometimes somebody may give you a price that, oh, this is 200,000 pesos, or this is 20,000 pesos. And in my mind, I need to know, is that a fair price? And the only way I can truly figure out if that's a fair price when I'm in a country for such a short period of time is to compare it to what would that be in American dollars. And so I know that if 7,000 pesos is about $10, is this thing right here worth $10? So that's how I figured that out. And that's like why I said it's good to know how to convert your money so that you know what you are working with. The next thing we're going to talk about is planning your perfect itinerary. And this is what I'm the most passionate about. Y'all, I live for planning a vacation, or I live for it. I love researching a country, researching a city of the country that I'm going to visit. Why? Because it makes me feel more intimately connected to that country before I get there. I mean, because let's be real, a lot of times we're not spending a whole lot of time. We're not immersing ourselves into a country for a month. Sometimes we're not even doing it for a full 2 weeks. Sometimes we just have days to jump in and get acclimated. And so for me, that acclimation process starts at home, okay? If any of you watch any of my travel videos, you will see that I intersperse what we're doing with tips and tricks and little fun facts that I picked up along the way. Most of these facts I pick up while I'm at home. I read and I research and I take notes and I jot things down. And then some of them I pick up on the fly while I'm there, when I'm communicating with local people, when I'm communicating with shop owners, when I'm communicating with tour guides. And I share that with all of you because I know that not everybody cares about reading up on everything the way I do. And I know that not everybody even has the freaking time to do all of that because it is a little time consuming. But this is what I do. And this is pretty much the order that I do it in. The first thing I do is I hit up Wikipedia. I love Wikipedia. So what I would do, like for instance, I'm going to Santiago, Chile. So I will look up Santiago, Chile on Wikipedia and I will read it and pick up whatever little facts I can pick up that are interesting to me. Keep in mind, you only have to be concerned with what is interesting to you, nobody else, because you have no way of knowing what anybody else is going to be interested in. My approach to life is, if I'm passionate about something, sometimes my passion can rub off on other people. Case in point, check out our video where we went on a great big hunt to see a freaking lamppost that Antonio Gotti designed. Yeah, it was a real thing. I am getting a whole entire posse and on that mission simply because it was something that I was passionate about. All right, I'm going to pull over right now because I want to actually finish this conversation with you guys before I get to work. So again, when I'm looking on things like Wikipedia or any other website, I am jotting down anything that seems interesting to me. I'm trying to find things that are relatable, that I can relate to, or that I feel that others can relate to. And if it is something that's a little more abstract, I search my brain for things that I can tell you guys it's like. Like, for instance, in Chile, we'll be visiting La Moneda. La Moneda is the presidential palace. So it's the equivalent of our White House in the United States, or it's the equivalent of Buckingham Palace in London. See, once you can take a thing and make it a little more relatable, it then becomes more interesting. Other than that, it's just a building that nobody cares about. The next thing I do after I do my overall Wikipedia research is I will do some Google searches on best things to do in said country. So best things to do in Chile, or top 10 things to do in Chile, most unusual things to do in Chile, must see sites in Chile. And then let's not forget my favorite, best free budget life things to do in Chile. And speaking of free, keep in mind that mostly every metropolitan city ever out there offers free walking tours. So do not forget to Google free walking tours. If you're going someplace, especially for the first time, a free walking tour is so worth it because it's going to give you a broad overview of that place. And I like to do this usually when I first get there, simply because when I first get there, I can see the broad overview, and then that gives me a better idea of some of places that I may want to go back to, or places that I want to go back to. And I also get the chance to ask the tour guides about other suggestions, whether they be restaurants, places to eat, places to see, ways to think. Okay, so I like to do that up front. So check out the free walking tours. I always had awesome experiences. Check out my walking tour that I did in Amsterdam. It was absolutely amazing. And the wonderful thing about the walking tours is they rely on tips. You give them a tip at the very end of the tour. What does that mean, y'all? That means it behooves them to be interesting, to be funny, and to be entertaining. I've done other tours that I paid for up front, and I've always kind of walked away a little underwhelmed from those tours. And a lot of times I feel like it's because they've already earned their money. What do they care if you were thrilled about your time with them or not? Some of them are just there because it's their day job. And you know how a lot of us feel about our day jobs. They're not the most passionate things we have going on in our lives. And then also remember that when you're searching the top things to do, just because it's a suggestion, it doesn't mean that you have to do it or you should want to do it. For instance, Chile is a place that is known for their wine. So there are tons and tons and tons of wine tours. And matter of fact, some of the people who will be going on this trip with, because we are going with the group, they're going on some wine tours. Well, wine is not my thing, so I will not be joining them on wine tours. I don't even know them like that, so that's one of the things. If I was going with my friends, then you know you can make something fun and exciting because you're with the great company. But I'm not into wine, so I'm gonna skip the wine tours, even though wine touring is one of the top things listed to do when going to Chile. The next thing I would do is I would search YouTube vlogs for that country. Again, I would look up things like top things to do in the country, but then I will also search on vlogs because sometimes I just want to see how people like me interact or experience a particular country, and with them not being necessarily professional tour guides or things like that. So I just see what YouTube has to offer on that city or in that country. The next thing you should do, I feel, is a must. I then will Google top foods to try in that country. You can put in top 10. You can put in whatever qualifier that you want, but I stick with top foods to try. And I say this is important because when I went to Japan, it taught me that lesson, because I went to Japan blind. I just felt that I was going to get in Japan and that obviously there was going to be food and then I was going to go and eat the food. That was not the case. Me and Gwen struggled with food in Japan. And I feel that if I would have did some research ahead of time, it would have helped out tremendously. Why? Because when you're in another country, you're not in America. And you got to admit that when in America, the things you're familiar with are American. So when you go to another country, you're going to look for what you're familiar with. American cuisine. That's just not going to really be there. Or at least American words or something American that you're familiar with. And it's not going to be there. A lot of times in other countries, the food is not even going to have an American name. It's going to have a name authentic to that country. Like a name in their language. You know what I'm saying? And so you're looking at the menu like, what is this? What is that? What is this? So when I research top foods to eat in a country, I'm familiar with the different names that thing is called. I can kind of see what it's made up of. And so therefore, when I'm out and I see it on a menu, I know, oh, that's something I want to try. Also, baby, you're not in Kansas anymore. So when in Rome, do what the Romans do and eat Roman food. Okay, so outside of food, the other thing that I do research on are things to buy in a country. Because once again, every country and a lot of times every city will have something that's pertinent to that country, something that they specialize in. And this is good for when it comes to if you want to buy souvenirs or if you just want to take a piece of that country home. You want to have something that actually means something from that place. And it's nice to know the story behind what it is that you're getting. Here's the other thing. When you research things that you should buy or souvenirs or things that that country is known for, you also have the awesome opportunity to look up going price rates. That way, when you're out bargaining with that man on the corner about that piece of copper that you want, you know what the going rate for that thing is. And therefore, they will not be able to give you a high price. Because trust me, guys, America, our prices tend to be more expensive than in other countries. And so in other countries, they know this. So they may give you a high price that to your untrained ear sounds good until you realize that, oh, everybody else is getting that thing for $10. I just paid $30. I want to pay the rate that most people pay. Don't get me just because you think I'm rich or just because you think I'm American. And so that's the great thing about doing research about things to buy when in another country. And then also, because you already set your budget, now you know exactly how that budget fits in with the itinerary. So you know that if you want to do X, Y, and Z, you know how much X, Y, and Z cost, because you're going to know that. You're going to write that down in your notes, how much it costs. And you will know whether it fits in your budget or if it doesn't. Or you know that if you just can't do a certain thing because it's not within the budget, or if you're able to increase the budget. Again, we are spending money we already have. We are not borrowing things on credit. I do use my credit card, but again, I would use what falls within that $750 window. And I will pay that off immediately upon return from my vacation. Okay? Now, with your budget set and your itinerary together, the next thing you do is you pack. Because now you know the things that you're going to be doing, so you possibly know the things that you're going to need. Remember to look up the temperature of the country where you're visiting so that you will know how to pack accordingly. Currently, it is summertime for us. It is August, but it is winter time in Chile. So that means I am packing winter gear. For me, I try to keep packing as light and as efficient as possible. I'm not a party girl, so I don't have to bring a bunch of night going out clothes. Nor am I a fashionista, where it's super important to me to look cute and have the best outfit of the day every day. We don't do that, okay? We repeat stuff. So for me, I am trying to, well, my goal, because I am bringing my snowboard equipment with me. I'm going snowboarding. So I'm bringing my equipment with me. So I have a long snowboard bag that gets to be 50 pounds. But what I'm going to do is pack as many of my clothing in that bag, along with my helmet, my ski boots, and my snowboard. And then everything else I'm going to pack in my carry-on luggage. And the carry-on luggage for me is going to be a backpack. And it's the backpack that I mentioned earlier in this video that I had to purchase just for this scenario. I've done it before where I had 2 bags with the rollers, like my snowboard bag and a piece of luggage, and it was very awkward to do. Matter of fact, check out my Canada video where I am dragging luggage all over that Mickey flick, okay? So this time I'm going to put my luggage on my back. So I got a wonderful Osprey backpack for $148 yesterday. And the awesome thing about that backpack is that my smaller Osprey backpack actually snaps into it, giving me more room that I can just carry on all the things, to include all of my computer equipment, so that I can edit all of these wonderful videos just for you guys. So here's what we packing. First, this is my blanket for the airplane, and then these are the snacks. We have some pistachios, we have some banana chips, and then we have a thing of tuna and sunflower oil, just in case things get real. Trust me, I went to Hawaii once. Things got so real that I ended up sharing my tuna fish with me as well as other hotel guests, okay? And then we have some Ziploc baggies, and we have plastic forks and spoons. Again, this is all in case things get real. This is my little purse of choice that I like to throw my things in while I'm palling around. After Chile, I will be going to Miami for a few days. I do have some clothes in Miami, so right now I'm only bringing this sundress, a pair of shorts, and a white tee. These sandals. And then, of course, flip-flops are for the vacation. Here are my pajamas. I have 2 sets of pajamas. And then these are all my underclothing. And I have some more other underclothing in the wash machine. Swimwear. And I am keeping it super simple. I'm only bringing 1 pair of ski pants. And then these right here are my base layers. Here are my socks. We got 3 pairs of socks. And then I have 4 t-shirts and 4 pair of pants. They're between leggings and sweatpants. I am bringing this headgear, this scarf, and 3 pairs of gloves. These are for snowboarding. Those are for the streets. And then we have hand warmers, a neck gaiter, and a headband scarf air protector thing. That is it. Over there, that's what I'm wearing tomorrow. That's what I'll be wearing onto the plane. And then here are the boots that I will be bringing. Over here is my electronic pile. So this is where I start piling the electronics that I'll be bringing along. And this includes Beats headphones, a hard drive, my camera tightening kit, chargers, that's for the camera, that is for phones and whatever, my little table tripod, that's the wire that goes to the external drive, of course my computer and my phone, and then I have my extra battery pack is charging right now, and then the cord to that, the cord to my cell phone, another one of these, and my extension cord and the cord to the computer will be coming along. And y'all already know how we start doing this. Toiletries, we just start piling them right here, and that way they are ready to go. And then my head scarves and such, and oils and such. So guys, that's all I have. And if you want some more conversation on how I pack for a vacation, take a look at this video right here where I talk about my vacation packing strategy. Other than that, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and leave a comment if you have anything more you would like to add to the conversation, or you have any questions or anything you would like me to expound further about. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not already a Fab Fam member. Until then, y'all, see you in Chile.